Alright, how you going, guys? Welcome back to the F1 2021 My Team Career Mode, and we're here for the first race this season. The pre-season video has already gone up, but we're now here for this Bahrain Grand Prix. First race of the year, we're going to see how we can do. Now, I did do some practice, but that's not really what I think you guys want to see, so we're just going to skip straight into qualifying, and we're here straight for our first run of Q1. We are looking to maybe have a shot at Q3. We'll have a look, but we are just looking to get through Q1, and we just got to put a good lap together just to get through. Start the lap, hit the right, good, hit this, didn't really hit the apex there, but then hit the apex here, down into the next DRS zone. It's well timed, and yeah, it's a good lap so far, and I'm just going to jump her straight through as we go wide there. That's a bit of a problem. I'm just going to jump her straight through towards the end of the lap, into the final corner. Nothing really went wrong that lap, other than that kind of calamity we had at turn 4. But as we go across the line, and we're ahead of Stroll, and we're sitting P10 right towards the end of the session, so I just kind of felt safe, and we're going to get through. Our teammate Robert Schwartzman, he didn't get through, he's knocked up with P11 at the end of the session, which I think is where we're meant to be. But now, into Q2, ready for this run, ready to go. Start of the run was good. I think we've got a good pace around this track. This is kind of one of my better tracks. I do definitely think the AI aren't as strong around here as they are at other tracks, like Monaco, per se. I am on controller, so do bear that in mind when you're watching this. I don't have a wheel, so that might be why I'm a little bit down on teammates and stuff. But yeah, this lap was going well. It's a good start of the lap. I'm just going to jump through towards the end of it just to make sure this video isn't too long. But now, down that straight, you can see Kimi Räikkönen in 1:31.1. I think we'll be aiming to get into the 1:30s to get ourselves up the order. And we're just going to see here, across the DRS line, and we're going to get ahead of Verstappen and Perez, which was good. I was P7 at the start of the session, couple medium tires behind us, but I had a good feeling about that lap. I didn't think I could go much quicker. I didn't really mess it up anywhere, and we're through P10 by not that much of a margin though. But Q3, we're in our first lap, and it was kind of a mediocre lap so far, but it really just went all apart here. Lost that braking zone, didn't really turn in nicely. But now I've changed. I've gone into my different set of tyres. We've only got one run to nail this, and we're now trying to nail it. Straight down, full speed, into turn 1. Gonna maybe try and clip the apex, not too much, like that, that's pretty much perfect. But now, down into here, didn't want to mess this up this time. It's perfect the whole time through. Really well done. Made it work, didn't kind of stuff it up like we did the last lap. Now, towards the end of this lap, into the final corner, maybe messed up the braking a little bit wide, but we got to get a good time on the ball, because this is our only run unless we could kind of go for a second one, but I didn't feel myself up enough. But as we cross the line, it's a 1:29.7, which is only good enough for 9th, but first race, not too bad. Strategy, you know, 6 or 7 laps, I went with the 6 laps, kind of kept the fuel as it was. But now we're here for lights out in Bahrain, the first lights out of the season, and we're here in Bahrain, and it's a long lights, but it's lights out and away we go. And we got a really great start compared to Leclerc ahead of us, and we're going to jump him straight away. Although Alonso and Sainz did move, so Alonso moves across, almost cuts us off for the long braking, as we're here with Bottas now, fighting for P4. Gonna give him the room, give him the area, as we're using ERS all the way down this straight, just trying to keep up with the Mercedes. It is a much faster car than us though. We can stick one around the outside though, into turn 4. We've got probably the better line into the next part of the track. But this is a great battle between me and Bottas. He's going for it, still hanging in there. I kind of have to squeeze him out there. There wasn't much room I could go to. But it's a good opening lap as we've jumped from P9 to P4 in the start of this race. I'm not going to lie, I do think we will be slower than most cars, so we will have to do a bit of defending. You look at that, Hamilton already 2.3 seconds up the road. But it's currently 1-2 Red Bull. But we have got, I think, some decent enough pace. Maybe some lower points, and maybe if we can just hold them up at P4. But again, just kind of a little bit wide in some parts, lets them back in. We're going to need a good pit stop and good strategy to be able to try and maximise our points here. But yeah, it's a good opening lap. We've gained position, haven't lost position. But you see Bottas, he's just a lot quicker. He's going for the move, but he doesn't commit to it completely. And that is lap 1. Verstappen with the fastest lap. You'd expect that, as he was first out of turn 1. But now Bottas coming back at us. I was looking at it, I decided to go for the lunge on Bottas. We kept our nose in, and we do drift a bit wide there, and not the greatest of moves, but we did kind of block Bottas, and Ricciardo is through at the beginning of lap 2 as we go into turn 4. And I'm just looking back, they do look like they're dropping back maybe a little bit. I need to try and maybe clear them by 1 second if we can just keep the pace that we are, but we'll have to see. I think driving well. This is one of the circuits I said that I'm better at. You know, when we get to circuits like Monaco, France, you know, I'm alright at Canada. But the tracks that really struggle at, because I'm on controller, there are some deadly curbs, you know, Suzuka, the USA, you know, those might have to be higher downforce, which we might take a bit of problems for, but, you know, it's all well and good. It's part of the agreement. You're going to be strong at some tracks and not as strong as others, but we're up to 8.5 tenths here, and that's kind of the gap I think you've got to be at to defend down this straight, trying to like save as much ERS as we can for it, as Hamilton grabs the fastest lap with a 1:31.6. We are a bit off the pace though, about 2 or 3 seconds, and as we go forward to lap 4, onto lap 4 now, nothing much happened, just defending Ricciardo. About 6 tenths behind here, we might be in a little bit of trouble, you never know. Get a good exit though, 7.5 tenths about as we hit that DRS detection zone. Trying to take the best exit out of this corner as I can, and we've got a decent one. It's up to 9 tenths, so we should be okay to defend this move. Off overtake, a little bit back on, just trying to save, kind of use it sparingly. But Ricciardo, not much of a chance. He only got it back from 9 tenths to about 7, so not great from a fellow Australian, but we'll have to see if he can get us later. I'm only doing 25% races, just shorten the episodes I think. I'm not that great at trimming stuff down yet, so just trying to keep it kind of as short as I can. Not trying to do 40-minute episodes, just keeping it kind of short a bit. Now, just got to keep defending. We are losing time to Hamilton and Perez, you can see. 7 seconds, and 7 seconds to Hamilton, about 7.5 to Perez. It's not good making time. Got a little bit wide there. But Ricciardo, he is catching us here, so this could be a bit of a problem as we come through this part. The curb on this right hand side here, you can spin very easily to touch that, if you touch that, so that's kind of a danger curb to stay away from. Probably one of the better exits, a little bit wide again here, and into the final braking zone on lap 5 as we try and get the best exit as we can. Trying to defend from Ricciardo. ERS completely being used. He was close here. It's about 6 tenths. I am using a lot of ERS. We're only down to 25% now on overtake for until probably the pit box period, which is this lap, hoping that Ricciardo maybe goes in, but then if Hamilton goes in, you know, Bottas will stay out, so we've got to have a good out lap. We probably need a pretty good pit stop compared to Ricciardo, compared to Bottas, compared to Norris, maybe even behind him if we might get caught. But now down that final straight, braking zone. Hit probably perfectly. Apex nicely done again. But now we're going to pit. We got to pit in now. This is our lap. I'm watching. Ricardo's coming in. Hamilton's in. Verstappen's in. Bottas, Norris continue on. It's kind of the front running cars of each continue on. I'm trying to watch his pit stop. I know he's not going to get held up. We probably aren't going to get held up either by anyone. But we need a good pit stop here. And it's a great pit stop from our team. 1.8 seconds. That is brilliant. And we get maybe a little bit of a gap to Ricciardo here. If we can just get out quickly. Cross the line. Wasn't the best pit exit. But I do try and nail as much as I can. Go back to the right. After the line. Hit the curb. You got to go. We got about 1 second to Ricciardo, because this could be massive for DRS trains and kind of stuff. If we can just hold him out of DRS, be okay. We did lose a bit of time to Lewis Hamilton, and I'm guessing Verstappen in those pit stops. But now it's the important time. We've got to beat Norris and Bottas out. And as we go onto this lap, it's going to be a race against time. I'm using as much ERS as we can. You can see Schwartzman goes into the pits this lap, and they're going to be right at the end of the pit lane. But I'm just going to get the jump on them, and I think Ricciardo's going to get the jump as well. So we're pretty safe. Well, not pretty safe, maybe about a second and a bit. We were 2.5 up on Bottas, so we did have a great outlap compared to probably Bottas's in-lap. The fresher tyres maybe helped. But it's at 1.1, which is good. We get a little bit of breathing room. We're trying to get back into P4, as you can see on that mini-map. There is an Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin still out, and I think that's Vettel and Giovinazzi. Continuing out, I think Giovinazzi's on mediums, which is why, but I think Vettel's on the softs, so odd strategy from Aston Martin there. They probably should both pit this lap, you'd think. But we're past halfway in this race here. I'm feeling pretty comfortable about where I am, about in P4, which is where we'll be once those two cars come in, because they are just losing time to people like Hamilton and Perez. But we're gaining on Hamilton here. It's down to 5.5 seconds. It was about 7.5 when we left the pit lane. So a lap and a bit later, and we are gaining on Lewis Hamilton. We are holding a gap to Ricciardo, about 1.5, 1.4, 1.5 gap, and this is a good gap. You know, we just got to hold it to him. Can't let him jump back in that spot. A little bit of oversteer, a little bit of understeer, and as I said, Giovinazzi and Vettel go in. It's Giovinazzi that tried to stretch the softs. Vettel was on the mediums. But now we're back into P4. Hamilton P3, Perez P2, and it's a massive snap of the back of the rear. And now Ricciardo is coming back in, as we were just told they're dropping back. Not anymore. Ricciardo's back into DRS range, and that could be a big problem for us. It's 8/10, so we could maybe try and stretch it out. But as I was going to say, it just takes one little mistake to let them back in, and then we're in real trouble. As now Daniel Ricciardo and Valtteri Bottas, they're both back into this DRS. We did manage to split off from the rest of that train though. The kind of the Alpines, the Aston Martin of Stroll, you know, those kind of cars. We did manage to split off from them. And Robert Schwartzman, still P19, which is where he started. Obviously, compared to us, isn't great, but you'd expect that from one of the rookies, you know. You know, they aren't going to be smashing off podiums straight away. It's definitely, players can be much easier. But yeah, it might be a little bit of a problem here. From Ricciardo, from Bottas, we're trying to just stretch it. We don't have much overtake like we did in the first stint. That could be a big problem. Only 18, 19%, around 20 continuous at the lap, as we're just having to use it to try and get a distance. I stopped using it because there's just not enough to continually use it. As we go on to lap 10, Ricciardo, he's catching, but he's not going to get close enough. They're way too far off as we go into the braking zone, and now they've really caught up now. That second DRS zone really kind of carried them forward. Now on lap 10, going down into this braking zone. It's not really working as great for us. Now we are losing a lot of time. That gap to Hamilton's back up to 7 seconds. Gap to Verstappen's back up to 8.5. As Verstappen for some reason went on the hard tyres, and that's allowed Perez to jump him after the pit stops. I'm guessing Perez on the mediums, but here comes Daniel Ricciardo. He's not close enough to just get us yet, as we do go a bit wide on the exit. He's not close enough though. You can see Lando Norris catching us in the background. And if you look at the minimap, the top three are kind of in a league of their own, as they now make a mistake and kind of mess that up as Daniel Ricciardo gets past. But I do try and stick my nose in, take as narrow a line as I can, give him all the space, but we do have DRS, so this could be a chance for Bottas, as Ricciardo momentarily ahead of us. But now Ricciardo, he's coming, we're 3 wide here with Bottas. Could this be a massive problem? Ricciardo's going to get shot out here because he doesn't have DRS, as Bottas going for the move on us now. Can he gain 2 positions in one? No, not quite. He was on that outside again, down there. But now Ricciardo, can he come back at Bottas here to take his position back into turn 4 at the second DRS zone? They're going to fight it all the way down. I kind of need this for them to slow down, let me back out of DRS zone. But Bottas stays ahead of Ricciardo, and lap 11 of this race. There's only 3 laps after this one, so I am feeling quite confident. 3.5 laps kind of left to go. Just gotta stay ahead. That's all I have to do, is just stay ahead of Bottas. Ricciardo, to be fair, I'm only going to fall down to about P7, because I don't think that next group of Alpines is going to catch us up by the end of this race. But Bottas now going for the move. I stick to the inside, he's on the outside. I do drift a little bit wide, but I give him enough room that he can deal with it, and he comes up right behind us there. A lot of overspeed compared to our car, and has to hit on the brakes, and that'll bring him down a little bit. But it's 4 tenths now. We could be in a bit of trouble here. It's 6 tenths. You probably need about 7 or 8 into this braking zone, as we're just in constant battle with Bottas and Ricciardo here for this P4 position. It's not even for the podium. As you can see, Verstappen and Hamilton, they're just flying off ahead. But I'm just trying to stay ahead of these guys. Bottas catching and catching and catching. Does he go for the move here? No. He stays behind, but the second DRS zone could be a massive problem for us here. Because Bottas, he's close. He's closer than I would like him to be. He hits the DRS, and now we're underway. As Bottas now going for the move down the inside. We give him the room to work with. He backs out of it eventually. We do go a little bit wide though on the exit. Could allow him back in. But we've still got 2.5 laps to go, really. End of sector 1. We're not going any quicker. I do like the medium tyres more than the soft. I think I'm a lot quicker on the mediums. But they're just gaining and gaining into this trail braking corner down here where I messed up on that qualifying lap. I can't mess up like that now, or I am done for from these cars. But Bottas, now he's going to go for it. I try and cover him off. He switches back to the inside. I'm on the outside here. Bottas really didn't give us much room to work with in the corner. We stick with him though. He gets ahead of us, but as we have a little bit of overspeed. But now we've just got to stick with him. Main straight. Are we a chance here? Is Ricciardo going to be a chance? Can Lando Norris maybe have a go? We're using overtake mode just to make sure. Can we go for a move here on Bottas already? We're going to try it around the outside. He's going to kind of block us off. We touch, but we do get the better exit and we get through. As now we've got DRS. This is a big chance for Ricciardo. He's kind of been boxed off here by Bottas, and he's going to try and go the long way around. I try and give him some room, give my fellow Australian a little bit of a chance to get past Bottas. And it's a double overtake for Bottas as he falls back from P4 to P6 now in a straight. He's now going to get pressure from Norris. But now we've got pressure from Ricciardo. We've got to try and block him. Try and block him in these last 2 laps. We kept enough speed with us to battle him into turn 4 and stay ahead. We've been very good in this. It's just a question of when, as we now still going lap 13. It's 2, maybe 3 tenths to Ricciardo. This straight doesn't really mean much. I don't think this straight's much of a zone. It's not like hard braking like turn 1, or where you can get really up the inside into turn 4 because of that DRS zone. It's not great. A little snap of oversteer as we do have to correct ourselves, and here comes Daniel Ricciardo. Is he a chance here? We try and block the move off. He comes with us. We're still alongside though. We try and keep it as narrow as we can, and we get through there nicely. Now Ricciardo is keeping with us. We take the long line out, and we're going to be in a bit of a problem here as we have to kind of brake for Ricciardo, almost getting in the way of Bottas. But now I've got to stay in the DRS onto the final lap This will be the one chance we've got on Danny Rick, but it's a big chance now, as we're almost near him. It's about 3.5 tenths, but you need about 6 tenths to be able to successfully defend. I've got 4% ERS. I've just got to try and use it to boost myself up towards Ricciardo. We're gaining all the time. I pull out and go for the move. We touch him, and it's a massive error. We hit his back wheel and knock maybe an end plate off or part of our wing, and I can already feel it as Ricciardo now coming back at us. He had to brake though, right in the DRS zone. We've got DRS because we were behind him in the detection zone on that straight. But now I've got to worry because my front wing isn't on. It's not really that great. It's not gonna help me in these corners like this. They're just gonna catch up to me, and on the straights I'm not gonna have as much speed being produced. I might lose a little bit of drag, but it won't matter that much. It's just gonna be in the corners where I'm gonna feel it, and this could be pressure on for Ricciardo. We just need to get through this DRS zone and we should be okay. We've got 24% ERS. I'm just gonna hit it and go. We need to kind of use it all here because I'm not sure where else he's gonna kind of get us, because he's not gonna get us into the final corner with just slipstreaming, but we keep him out. And now they're attacking us, and Ricciardo goes for the move up here, and I don't notice him, and he just kind of crashes out, and I really didn't mean that, as we have to go really wide, and through goes Bottas as we try and go for a dive bomb on him, but it's just not there. And I'm sorry to Danny Rick, but it's just I didn't really see him and I didn't have enough time. But as Perez wins this race, I'm going to dive back down the inside of Bottas, take our P4 back. And can Norris have a dive with Bottas? No. But it's a bit unlucky for Ricciardo, but we snatch a P4 in our opening race in Bahrain, and it's a good result. Definitely that last lap didn't help us. Clean dive on Ricciardo probably would have worked, as we do win driver of the day, so that's at least a plus. And now I'll send you off to your winner ceremony. Sergio Perez, your race winner. Max Verstappen P2, Hamilton 3, us 4, Bottas 5, Norris 6, Ricciardo, then Alonso, Ocon, Leclerc, Sainz, Gasly, Vettel, Tsunoda, Giovinazzi, Russell, Stroll, Raikkonen. Our teammate Schwartz went down P19, and then Schumacher, Latifi and Mazepin, which is good that he's beating those cars. As we look at the standings, Red Bull leading both championships, constructors with a healthy lead of 17 points, and then the drivers with Sergio Perez leading Verstappen. And it's all in all a good race, and I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and to have a good one. Goodbye.